طيب بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We will continue the classes inshallah. So what did we do yesterday? We added some styles, right? So we will continue on that and we'll try to finish the app inshallah by today or maybe tomorrow. So this is what we have, right? So we added some style for that, okay, for this button here as well. So today what we'll do, we will add style for the to-dos here, okay, inshallah. So what we can do for that, first let's add some style for this remove button here. So let me select that and see what I can add for that. So for my to-do button here, I have the background color red, right? So let me change that, change that to something. Okay, this is fine. So the color should be white. Okay. Also the border, right? Let's remove the border. Okay. Also let's add some padding. Let's say 10 pixels. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, can we do one thing? Instead of saying remove, why don't we show an X mark there or some sort of like a tick mark? Let's say it's a small image or icon. So if you click on that, it will be removed, okay? I think that's better, right? And also we didn't see how to add images, right? How to show images in our React app. So I think that will be a good thing. Okay, so what we'll do now is let's find some tick mark, okay? So we can find some icons on it, okay? So as far as icons are concerned, right, there are a lot of options for that. If you're working in a React project, right, there are multiple ways you can add icons. So the first way is that obvious way is use some image, okay? Just find some icon or an image on the net and use that image, okay? And when you say image, right, they can be of different formats, right? They can be PNG, they can be SVG, they can even be JPG, okay? But generally for icons, right, when we say about icons, we use these two things, okay? PNG and SVG, okay? And you can learn what is the difference between these three things, okay? These are most popular formats that we use. So we spoke about this previously in our classes, but I would say if you want to know, then you can know the differences, okay? So that's the first way, okay? Using some image, meaning you can go to the net, okay? So let's say free SVG icons. So here you have a lot of sites, okay? So just come here and search. So right now we want tick, right? So let's say tick. See, something like this, right? Huh? No, I don't think cross would be appropriate because it's a to-do app, right? So when I do something, I have to click on that right button. So that's done. Okay. Whatever it may be, okay, we'll go with this, okay? We'll go with the right. So you see, this is an, you see a lot of things, right? So you can download, okay, what you want. So you can select, we will go with, what shall we go? We will go with this one, okay? So let me download that. By the way, there's a difference between SVG and PNG, okay? SVG in the sense that it can scale, okay? Like even if you zoom, right, even if you increase the size in the way that you want, the image won't become blurred. But if you take PNG or JPG, the image would become blurred. Okay, let me show an example. I think in GitHub PR page you will see an example there. Let me see. Let's go to the PR. So we have some PR open here. Okay. You see, for example, this thing, right? This open, this is an icon, right? You can see the small arrow mark and all these things. This is an icon, okay? And if I zoom, right, you see, does it become a blurred? No, right? This icon, right, this arrow mark and this dot here, even if I zoom, right, it's still clear actually. The quality doesn't get compromised, right? So that is a SVG. SVG behave like that. You know, SVG means scalable vector graphics. You can scale it. Scale means what? You can, you know, maximize it, or you can, you know, like zoom it, something like that. It's scalable, okay? That's why it's called SVG. Even if you zoom it, even if you you know, increase the size, unlike anything, the quality will still be the same. But for example, look at this image here, Javed Ahmed. You see that's blurred, right? I don't know if you can see that difference in quality because I'm sharing my screen, but you can try it, okay? This is, if you see, it is blurred actually. And the reason is because this is not a SVG, this should be a JPG, or this should be a PNG. Those type of images, right, when you zoom, right, or when you increase the size, they will become blurred, or the quality gets lost. But if I zoom out, right, you're not able to see that difference, right? You don't see that it's blurred now because it's in its normal size. But if I zoom, right, you can see that quality it becomes degraded because that's a JPG or a PNG. So that's a difference, main difference, okay, between PNG and SVG. So there are other differences as well, because PNG, as if you see, right, it can have transparent layers. So you can read about the details later, okay, if you want. But this is the main difference, okay. But generally for icons, right, you can go with SVG. That's a very good thing because it doesn't get quality doesn't get compromised, right, even if you zoom. So okay, so we have here, right, this SVG icon here. So let's download that. Okay, so I have downloaded that here. But the problem here is this is black color, right? So we don't need black color, we need green color, right, to show here. Like when I want that to be green, okay, let's keep black, okay, because let's not waste time on those small stuff, because we have, okay, so where is it downloaded? Okay, it is here. Let me rename that first. Tick. So I have to bring this inside. Okay. Okay, so let me create a separate folder here called images. Okay, or let's not do it because it's we'll see later. So if you see, right, I have taken my file here. It's inside my components folder. So this is the SVG path, right? This is how SVG files are, right? And you can look at the preview, right? We installed a preview extension before, right? In VS Code, for people who don't know, there's a VS Code extension, SVG preview. So right now, if you see, we have installed this extension. Because of this extension, we can able to see how an SVG actually looks. Okay, so this is the SVG file. You can click here and say preview SVG. So you can see how it looks. Okay, currently this is how it looks, right? So you can change the background here. You can see it. So we have SVG here. So how do we add that in the React project? It's very similar. Just like you're importing a CSS module here, right? It is like that only, okay? So what you have to do, import some name, give some name for that, okay? So let's say to-do icon, tick icon from the path, okay? So since this is in the same folder as the tick SVG, so I'll just say like this. So what happens is you can now use this as a SRC attribute, okay, for image. So here we have this remove button, right? Okay, let me just change that to, okay, let me do one thing. Let me just comment this for the time being. Since we are going to use an image, right? You bring the image tag, and here what we say, SRC is equal to whatever variable that you have here, okay? Simple as that. That's it. Okay, this is how you use images in React. So let me close this. See here, it's very big, right? Because it's taking the default size. If you look at the whatever we downloaded here, right, there has some default size, right, when we download that from the net. So that default size is being taken now. So we have to change it, right? So I can give some style attribute here, or you can, this takes a height, right? Let me say it's going to be 15 pixels, okay? Because image tag takes a height, right? Height and width, right? It also takes a style tag, but just to control the size, we can use this directly, okay? Now you see it's decreased now, okay? So we'll come back to that, we'll fine tune that. But the thing is, now we are able to show an image here, okay? No, because for height, right, this is by default pixel only. If you say 15, it means 15 pixels. But if you're using CSS, right, like this, style, here it matters. Okay, whether you're going to give, I think even if you give 15 here, right, by default that will be taken as pixel only. But if you want to give some other unit, you have to give like this, like 15 REM, okay, something like that. But if you want to give pixels only, you can just give a normal number there. Okay. So you see I have an icon here. So what shall I do now? Let me style that icon. So first of all, before the icon, right, let's come to this text here, okay? Let's style that one. So for that, I think we have a normal division there, right? So we didn't give any class name for that. Let me add a class name for that, okay? So I can say Todo. Okay, why don't we create a separate style sheet for this Todo alone? We can do it, right? Or we have this module here. Okay, we'll use the same style sheet then. Okay, let me delete this. I can create a class called Todo, okay, or Todo label. So I'm going to say, okay, let's say font size. It's going to be 16 pixels. So let me import this module inside this file. It's already imported here, right? So I just have to use that class name. Okay, how can I do that? Class name is equal to Todo styles dot Todo label, right? So here you see, right, that is applied actually by 16 pixels by default. This is 16 pixels. Yeah. So what we can do is we can keep that at 32 pixels, okay? So that's the first thing. And secondly, what about the rest of the things? Should be changed. What about this image here? We have an image, right? So for this image, I can say no, height is 15 pixels, okay. What else I can do? Oh no, 15 pixels is so it's very less, right? Let's increase that. Okay. So 40 pixels seems good. Okay. So we'll keep 40 pixels here, okay. And I think we have to give some padding for that as well. Sorry, margin, right? Margin left. Say 15 pixels. That's fine. And if you see, right, it's appearing on the top, but it's not in the same level, right, as this text, right? So why is that? So we have the image here, and we have the span here, and then we have this parent division. So we have to do some flex for that, right? To bring them to the center. So what I can do is I can click on the parent there, and I can say display is going to be flex. See, the moment I apply display flex, they became the center actually, almost, right? So I think that is enough, I guess, right? What of it? see here, okay, every to do has a parent division, right? Inside that we have a span where we display the name here, the name of the to do, and here we have the image, right? So I applied flex for this element here, this parent. So you see that image came inside here, okay? So these are the initial main things that we have to apply. So you have to okay. So let me create a new class, to do label, to do wrapper, okay? That's a parent, okay? So for that the display is going to be flex, and then we have the to do image itself, right? To do icon, okay? Sorry, tick icon. For that the height should be 30, right? 32 pixels, right? This should be flex. So I have 3 classes here. Let me just apply those classes. So this should be, class name is equal to do styles dot to do wrapper, okay? And this image should be to do styles dot tick icon, okay? So let me save that. Now you see all the 3 to dos. Wait a minute, let me reload that. Okay, so see the to do, the tick icons are in the way that we expect, but the text is not in the way that we expect. Why is that? Is there a mismatch in the name? So this is to do label, okay? To do label. It's the same, right? Oh yeah, 16 pixels, right? Yeah, this is 16 pixels. Yeah, it's correct only. So we have to give 32, right? Now you see it's fine. Yeah. Now let me do one thing here. Here we are repeating this thing again and again, right? To do styles. We can destructure that, right? Because we know this is an object, right? So we can destructure that. So we can do it here. To do styles, okay? So what are the class names? To do wrapper, but okay, one minute. To do label, tick icon, okay? This will work anyway, but let me, because I have not tried this before as well. I just noted this. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it works. But do you think this is a good thing? Because see, this is like some variable, right? When I look at these variables here, as if like I'm going to store some text inside that. Yeah, that's right. But we know, but generally when you look at the variable, right, it should tell you what is stored inside that, okay? Here to do label, right? Anyway, it's okay, not a big deal. I just have some small qualm about it. Anyway, we'll continue inshallah. So this is fine, and let's add some. Okay, let's add more styles. So here, okay, we have to add some padding, right, between those things. Okay. Yes, alignment as well. Yeah. So we'll create some space between the label and the icon. So let me say margin right, going to be 15 pixels. Okay, that's too much. Let's say 8 pixels. Okay, this is fine. Okay, and what else? I want to create space between these to dos themselves, right? So for that, for every to do, right, I have to give some margin, right? So I should not do that on the span. Actually, I should give some vertical margin for the wrapper here. Okay, here. So let me just add this style. Okay, for margin right should be there for the to do label. Okay, so margin right should be 8 pixels. This is fine. And for the entire to do wrapper, right, let me give some vertical so margin bottom. Okay, so margin is equal to margin top and bottom, right? Okay, so margin should be top and bottom should be, let's say 15 pixels, and then for the right, left and right, let's keep 0 for the time being. See, it's like this, looks fine, right? And yes, the tick marks are misaligned right now. Yeah. What? Oh yeah, you're saying right. These tick marks should be vertically on the same level. You're saying. Here they are in this. Okay. That we can do that. So what we can do for that? You tell me what to do. List. Like what CSS should I apply to make sure that that happens? Because you see now, it depends upon the length of this label, right? If this label is small, then this would be here. So how can I make sure that all the three icons, they always appear on the same level? Or to say in other words, to make the task easy for you, these three things should be appearing on the rightmost corner, right? Always. Okay, let me tell the answer. So if you want to make sure that all the tick marks, they always appear on the right side, on the same level, then you have to make sure that these divisions, right, these spans, right, they should always take the same length. So right now if you see these divisions, if you see this division, for example, it is occupying from here to here, okay? And all the divisions, they are occupying the same width actually. All the wrappers, we have the to-do wrapper, each to-do wrapper, it occupies the entire length only, okay? So no problem. But the problem is with this span here. This span, they are taking different widths, right? So what I can say is, I can say that span will take 100%. Okay, it's going to take the entire width, okay? Whatever is available for that. So let's see there. For the span, right? So this is the to-dos label, right? Yeah. For this class, if I say the width is going to be 100%, you see? This is fine, right? So this is what we should do. Just keep that width to be 100%, okay? Yeah, the big distance is there. So what we can do is we can restrict the width of this to-do wrapper, okay? Because this is currently taking the entire screen width, right? So let's give some maximum width for that. So maximum width is going to be, let's say, 100 pixels. Oh, that's too less. Let's say 500 pixels. Even this is too much. Let's say 350 pixels. This is fine, right? This is fine. Okay. So these are two things, okay? The maximum should be 350 pixels. Secondly, that span should be taking the entire width, okay? So to-do label should take 100%, okay, whatever available space. To-do wrapper, the maximum which should be. By the way, our lecture has become like it's a CSS class. We should not be doing this. The reason is because some people may be watching this, right, and they are already strong in CSS, so they will be wasting their time, right, by watching what we're doing now. Anyway, no problem, inshallah. They can skip it, inshallah. So this is fine, right? Okay. What else? Okay. So let's bring the entire thing to the center, okay? This entire app, let's align that to the center, okay? So what I can do for that? I have to target the root division, right? So here you have the root here, but you have this class called app, right? So inside this app, all these things are residing, right? This input, this button, everything. So let me apply flex for this app here. Okay, for this element, if you see, display is going to be flex. Okay, and the flex direction should be column, right? Yeah, flex direction is equal to column. This is fine, okay. And what else? Justify content, right? Sorry, align items center. You see, this is fine. But the problem is these things, they are appearing in two different lines. We don't want that, right? We'll come back to it. But this is the first thing, okay? For that app, right? For the class with app, I want to apply these things, okay? Let me just copy that. Class name, no. That is in the React file. When you write in React component, you have to write like that. But this is the final output. That will be class only. This is not what you are writing. This is something generated, okay? Yeah. So this is the first thing, okay? For the division which has the class app, I have to apply these styles, okay? So let me copy that. And app.css. So where did we apply that? Okay. So we have some normal style sheet, right? This is like a normal style sheet, right? So let me come here and say .app. That's it, okay? So this is enough for me. Okay. Here you see, right? I didn't import this file anywhere, right? In the name, like I defined a class here, but I didn't say something like some object name .app. There's no need for that because this is a normal CSS file, okay? We do that only for CSS modules, like what we're doing here, right? This kind of stuff. This is for CSS modules. As for normal CSS files, you don't have to do that. Whatever name that you give, you can directly give it. So we have a class called .app, and this name is directly given for this element here, right? Class name app. Okay. So what happens if you want to give more classes, more than one class? Just come in and add another class here, okay? You can add as many classes as you want, okay? Now there's a question: how to add more classes if you're using CSS module? Here, if you see, right, we have only applied only one class, right? How can I add more than one class? Is it possible or is it not possible? It's very simple actually. See, the thing is, this is a variable here, okay? It is going to have some string, that's it, okay? What is that string? Which we discussed yesterday, right? It's going to have some prefix and the file name and some random hash, okay? If you see here, todos underscore tick icon, something like that, right? This is the class name, okay? Okay? If you know this class name, right? Like let's say that you have guessed it, or you know that this is what is going to be the class name, final class name. You don't even have to use like this, like variable like this. You can come here and directly do the normal way. Okay, like if you know what it's going to be. But the thing is, we don't know, right? Because that's going to be random, right? We don't know what it will occur there. That is why we are using it dynamically like this. Okay, that's the only thing. Otherwise, everything else is same actually. Rest of the things are normal. So what happens, like if you want to apply more than two classes, you want to bring those two classes, okay, into a normal string. Like see here we have app, right? Let's say I'm going to apply another class called root. So what I have done here is I'm following this pattern, right? So the first class name, some space, the second class name, right? Some space, the third class name. Likewise, this is a normal way that you add CSS classes, right? You have to do the same thing here as well. Only thing is, those class names are stored in variables. You have to bring them together. How do you bring them together in a dynamic way? You have studied this before. Let's say to-do wrapper. Okay. Let me say another. Okay. Let me say to-do wrapper 2. So I want to apply these two classes, okay? So how would I bring them together and assign this to class name? Use a template literal, right? No, you can't do directly. How can you do directly? See, to-do wrapper 2. Okay, this is how you combine that. Okay. So these are two dynamic segments. I have combined them together like this, and that is going to be one final piece which is going to be assigned to class name. How can you do directly like this? Can you do something like this? No, right? No, this is wrong. Because you can assign only one variable to that, right? Or something, some piece of code, but this is not a valid piece of JavaScript code, right? This is a valid piece of JavaScript code. No, right? But this is valid. Okay. Likewise, if you're calling a function here, let's say some function, okay, some function, it's calling something else. Okay. So you're calling some function. This is also valid. You have to put something valid in between those two brackets, and finally it should return some string, right, which will contain your class names. Okay. So in this case, right, what we are doing is, if you want to add multiple classes, an easy and obvious way would be to combine those whatever classes that you need by way of a template ritual like this. Okay, this is valid JavaScript code, right? Also, you are dynamically applying those two classes. Okay, so whatever is the name of that class, they will be combined together and it will be applied further. Okay, simple. So this is how you apply multiple class names if you are using CSS modules. Okay, so let me keep like this. Now, which will disappear? Yes, it will disappear, yes. Because when you refresh the page, right, your app is going to start from the beginning. So when you start from the beginning, whatever progress that you had will be gone. No, in real application it won't. The reason is because you'll be storing that in the database. You'll send the request to the backend server, and whatever thing that you have will be stored in the database. And when you come back to your app once again, right, you fetch that data from the database and then you render that. So you have to store the progress somewhere, okay. And that can be either your database, or it can even be some other places, like you can download that file, for example. You can download a particular file and you can load that. There are a lot of options for that, but the thing is, as long as you don't do that persistent job, right, the job of persisting your progress, right, or storing your progress, it will be gone. Okay, but to no. If you want to, in the front end app you can do just by in the front end, right. If you just want to store your progress, right, that is possible actually. We can do it. For example, you can store it in local storage. There is something called as local storage. Okay, here you can see application. Yeah, if you come here, there is something called as local storage here. Okay, so you can store. It's possible. There are some ways in which you can store your some state or some data, okay, so that you can restore it during your next session, just by just in the front end itself. Like even if you are not using any backend server, you can do it, but we will not go into those things right now, okay, because that's outside the scope of these tutorials. Generally, the thing is, when you reload the app, everything is going to start from scratch. All your data will be gone. Everything will be initialized to the normal state. Okay, so if you want to store it, or if you want to save your progress, then you have to take some extra measures for that. Okay. Yeah. So we can store a but like I told you, you have to do something extra for that. Normally, it don't be stored, but it is possible. Yeah. So right now we have this, and we applied flex for that, right? For the app we have applied flex for that, and that's why you see these two things are appearing on two different lines. So I want to appear them on the same line, right? So what I should do? I think we just have to add a wrapper for that. So to add to do, right? Here we are returning directly, right, as two elements. But if you wrap them, right, inside a division, then that problem won't be there. Okay, so let me save that. See, they are appearing on the same line now. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so this looks pretty decent. What we'll do next is, when I hover over this, right, I should see that, just like I'm seeing here, right, I should see that hand icon, okay. So for that, what I should do, in to do, okay, let me remove this code here. So this is my tick icon, right? So I should add some pseudo class for that, right? because I'm already applying a class name for that. So for that class name, whenever I'm hovering over that element, I should change that cursor. Okay, so I just have to come here and do what? Tick icon, add the pseudo class. Okay, hover, cursor pointer. That's it. Okay, so you see, right? So this is fine. And what else, Afi? So if I click on that, nothing happens, right? Because we didn't attach the event listeners. So let me come here. So tick icon is here. Okay, so when I click on that, right, on click, I should call the remove to do function with my index. Okay, this is fine. See, so let's say, okay, write some code, then test code, okay, debug, deploy. Okay, so here something interesting. Whenever I write something, right, what I should do, I should click on this button to get it added, right? But do you think that's a very good user experience? Let's say it's a good user experience, but to make it great user experience, we have to add it when I click on the enter button. Okay, let's say I'm typing something. When I click on the enter button, I want it to be shown here. I don't have to use my mouse and click here. Okay, so for that, what I can do is I can track what key is being pressed. Enter is a key, right? Just like D is a key, E is a key, P is a key. Enter is also a key, right? So I will track what key is being pressed, and if that key is enter, I will call my add to do function. It's very simple, right? See, if you look at this button, right, add to do button, when I click on that button, I'm going to do what? I'm going to call this function, right? Same thing, call the same function, but when you click on the enter key. Okay, so that's what we should do. Okay, simple. But how can we know, how can we track the key? For that, right, there's an event called, I think it should be on key down. Because input, right, it has a lot of events, right? On change is one event. There's another event called on key down. Okay, so there are a lot of events. Okay, so there's one more event called on key down. What that does is that when it will be called, let's ask ChatGPT. Okay, so explain on key down in HTML input. See, on key down is an event handler in HTML that is used to execute a JavaScript function when a key on the keyboard is pressed down while the focus is on the HTML element. Okay, so this is the definition. Okay, see, if you have an input element like this, and whenever you press some key, okay, whenever you press some key, that function will be called. Okay, that is the, if you want that feature, right, whenever you want to execute a particular function, when a key is pressed, then you have to use this event, okay, on key down. And then if you see that on key down event occurs when a key is pressed down, and it provides information about which key is pressed. Okay, this is what we want, right? We want to know which key is pressed, right? So it gives you the information. Okay, as well as any modifiers that are hold on. Okay, so these are more details actually, so you can come and learn about this in detail if you want. But the thing is, you want to use this function here, use this event here, and how to access the key. Okay, let me ask that. How to find? Okay, let me ask ChatGPT. Okay, I just want to do what? Okay, I want to find whether the enter key is pressed or not, right? So let me ask ChatGPT. How to find if the enter key is pressed. Okay, we will stop here inshallah. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay. It's very slow. So it's giving the function, okay. See here, you have that event object, right? Like you say e.target.value, right? Something like that. So you have the same event object. In that event object, there is a property called key code, okay. And if that key code is going to be equal to 13, that means that the enter key was pressed. It's very simple actually. So you have that event object. In that event object, there's a property called key code. And if that is going to be equal to 13, then it means that you press the enter key. Because we spoke about ASCII values before, right? Every letter, right? It has some, I don't know if it's ASCII value or some other value, but ASCII value, right? Means every key, right? A, B, C, D, every letter, right? They can be represented by a number, okay? Okay, so maybe I think that's ASCII value, Allahu Alam, but we'll continue tomorrow inshallah, okay, but this is what it gave you, right? So let's just take that one. Okay, let me copy that and let me paste it here, okay, and we will finish the rest tomorrow inshallah. Okay, so the thing is, this function should be called whenever a key is pressed, okay. So let me say check enter. Okay, I think let me finish now itself, okay. So we know that, right, this condition will become true whenever that enter key was pressed. So here it says, right, perform something here, right. What should we do when the enter key is pressed? You just call what? Call this function here, handle click, right. So it's very simple, right. So let me say handle click. So you understand this code here, right? Whenever the enter key is performed, just call this function. That's it. Now let's test the code, okay. Deploy, right? Okay, let me type deploy. I'm going to press enter. See, it's added. Okay. So inshallah, we'll see tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow inshallah, let's speak about the custom hooks. Okay, this is the built-in hook, right? Use state, use effect. Tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll speak about custom hook, okay? And you'll see how cool that is, inshallah. Yeah, our own hooks, yeah, inshallah. We'll speak about that tomorrow, inshallah. Okay. But I think, like, even if it's a very simple app, right, you can do more and more complex stuff, like you can learn more and more, we can discuss more and more ideas, more and more features in React with this very simple app, okay. So we'll see how much we can go with this. Inshallah, we'll continue tomorrow, okay. طيب أخي الحمد لله سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته